Hello to the Foundational Working Group meeting, 20th of March. So we have our usual agenda. We will go over the PRs in our dashboard, and we have some additional topics on our agenda. So PRs. This depends on, we discussed this last time.
Yeah, there's no reason this can't be merged first, assuming all the questions are resolved, since it is a backwards compatible with CPI v2.
Yeah, last time the version was not there, the new version, I think.
Yeah, I think he made a if else, and I asked him to separate a separate file for that. But now he added Cloud v3. I think that's clear now, right?
Yeah.
We have two approvals on this, and Felix, there is a comment. Is this now resolved, Ahmed?
I just added. Which one is this? Is this still the Bosch or the CPI? No, yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, I did not check. Sorry, I did not check that yet. I don't know if he added a test for cloud. So I mean, the test was never there for this method actually. I'm not sure. I guess he did not add any more comments. No more pushes afterwards. So I guess it's still pending, right?
Not outdated. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. So I mean, it does not. It's not making things worse. So the test was never there in the first place. Yeah.
Was there a test in v2?
No, I mean the method was not implemented in v2 at all. It's not
Okay.
overriding the v1 implementation, and the v1 did not have tests for the bit stem cell call anyhow. And yeah, and with that, I mean we can merge it in the test, or we can put it as part of this PR. It's not matter.
I think there is no urge to bring this in, so we can wait for this.
We can merge it midweek too, if we want to get it going through the pipelines.
Yeah,
just ping me.
do that. All right. I mean, I can also do it if you all think it's fine. Then I will just follow up on that and do it.
That's true. You can just click the merge button. Yeah.
Okay, let me put a comment here that discuss this.
Shall I create a new release already? I know I never tried to do so. To do one, or do we can also do it later? I don't know. How often do you do the CPI releases for AWS?
When needed, or there's auto bumps in there. Things like this are a lot of times. So the auto bumps have not been working out great for big features. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but we cut two releases of the Bosch Director this week because we merged in the property validation stuff last week. And then it got to the end of the pipeline. It's like, oh, there was a CVE fixed or a blob bump. So it released a patch version. So it was like, we released this big new feature in a patch release. So then I just cut an empty, basically major. I'm like, this is like just here for a line in the sand for this feature for docs and stuff. So like typically things auto release fairly regularly, but for things like this, it might actually be good to, once this is merged, pause the auto release, and then once it gets to the end, trigger a do something. Actually, I don't know how to deal with that once it gets to the end.
Okay.
I was saying you could trigger a major, but still might cut one based upon. I guess you could just leave the auto release paused until it goes through with pipeline again. It's complicated. But yeah,
Maybe
cutting release is fun.
okay. I mean, I never did it myself. I don't know. Ben, did you do it before? I'm just curious to see it once with someone
Yeah.
did it. Or I can.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'll put something on the agenda this week for just a quick show and tell about how the releases work, because they're all standardized now for the most part. So we can just go over that later in the meeting.
That'll be nice. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Olaf. Here we have also, this is in the OS conf release regarding IP tables job. We have already 3 approvals. I think we can watch this one. This feature has been already released accidentally with CV bump. I read somewhere. So I think there is a new version of the Bosch Azure CPI which has already the this Azure, the latest release.
Hence, we demonstrate the problems with the auto release.
So that means the documentation. Yeah, the documentation is mentioning the right version. Yeah. Okay. How many approvals we have here? We have 2 approvals and it's released. I think we can also watch the documentation. Discuss this one. This is the other side of the stem cell tagging in Bosch. So we have still open change requests here.
Yeah, it's a minor thing, but we can also do it together. So if you're also thinking fine, I can also do it with the other one. I just saw it before this meeting.
Also, yeah, failing tests.
No, I mean they are green now, but it made me wonder. So I was comparing now what this Cloud Factory returns. He expected again it's a wrapper, but I think it should be normal external CPI. So it's something minor. But I think in general we can merge it. But I think otherwise all tests are green and working and looks good.
Yeah, I think once that's resolved, it's good for anybody to merge. Well.
Plot thickens. So there's a pair. So this is probably this contains everything in a reorganization of Bosch underscore common, as well as the changes to put Bosch template back into or out of Bosch directory into Bosch common. What I noticed in doing a lot of archaeology in Bosch is that it's sort of 2 things. One is that we have 2 gems that were internal gems that do have external consumers. Bosch template, which is used for template rendering tests across a bunch of releases. And then a whole bunch of different things which are poorly namespaced and very unconventional Ruby that live in a folder called Bosch underscore common. And the the outcome of this is getting to a point where we have a single Bosch dash common gem, which has a consistent namespace of Bosch : common, which contains all of the stuff that's in Bosch _ common, as well as all of the stuff that's in Bosch template, so that that gem can go live in the world, have its own pipeline, have its own versioning system, and actually have releases. The Bosch template gem and the Bosch _ common gem have both been released once in the past year, more than a year. They have versions which don't match the version information that's inside the gem itself. It looks like they were sort of just versioned manually and then pushed to Ruby gems. There hasn't been a lot of change in them. Obviously, they're still working. I think this change will break some people that consume this new gem. The old gems will continue to work, but hopefully I can go through in the next few months and convert all of the consumers of these gems to use the more official real one that will be tested and delivered.
They'll
after
fail
this.
when they try to, once we extract these, cut a gem, and then they try to consume that new version of the gem, so they don't just
Well,
break as soon as this is merged,
but
right?
they won't consume the new version of the gem, because the new version of the gem, there will be no new versions of the gems they consume.
True.
Because there's a Bosch _ common, which contains a bunch of just a kind of junk drawer, and then there's the Bosch dash template, and neither one of those gems will be changed when we do the extraction. So it'll have to be a conscious, deliberate inclusion to switch from Bosch _ common or Bosch template to Bosch dash common. The code underneath is identical or more or less, modulo some Ruby, barring some Ruby like organizational stuff, but otherwise the code is all there.
Okay.
And this is just the first step of cleaning up some of the internals.
Right.
Yeah. I was just thinking whether we should put somewhere this information for people willing to update, or it is only internal.
It's not only internal. I suspect that I'll probably be the only person doing this work. I'll probably put a README on the gem that we end up extracting that explains the origins.
Yeah,
but that'll be probably as part of the PR to remove Bosch dash common from the Bosch director and put it in its own repository.
Yeah.
And for reference, the Bosch template gem is a really, really bad idea for anybody to consume currently, because it's a lie. Because Bosch, or sorry, not Bosch, but the Bosch template gem, if I said common, the template gem is a lie, because using that to test your Bosch release template rendering doesn't work the way Bosch renders templates, because Bosch uses a forked version of Ruby to add back some YAML behavior and all these other breaking changes that have happened in Ruby. Whereas if you just pull in the gem, like, you're not using that forked version of Ruby, and so your template rendering will behave totally differently than when the Bosch director does it, which is fun, which is yet another reason to get away from ERB, if at all possible.
Yeah. You're going to work on that this month, right, Joseph?
Yeah, I got plenty of time left.
I guess I've just sort of been taking the path of slightly less resistance, which is to not yank the Bosch template out of all of the places that it's consumed. Should we consider that? Like, is it just a terrible lie for people, or is it enough of a value that
there are only small pieces that are lies. It doesn't give you full confidence, but it's probably still the best tool that you have for, like, I want to sort of test drive template rendering because I've put a bunch of logic in my templates. There's certain things that won't behave the same way and certain things that are Ruby version dependent, but like, we don't have a better solution for them at this point. So if you want to write some template tests, that's your current option.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I think it does make sense to pull this.
This one has enough approvals so you can merge. Or is there something
Let me take a quick look, just a second.
You're not gonna add more commits to this, are you?
I'm not going to add more commits to that, but there are effectively two PRs
Yeah, I was looking for the other one.
that stack on top of each other.
This one,
So
maybe this 2000, maybe this one,
it's the Bosch template to Bosch common. Yeah, so this is basically a set of changes on top of that other PR, which performs the move of Bosch template from the inside of Bosch director out to the new Bosch common. So this I just wanted to make sure we weren't looking at the second one.
So we can merge the other one, and it
So we
needs to
merge
be
the
merged
other
before
one.
this one.
This is once I rebase this onto main, the number of commits here is very minimal. So
okay, then I'm merging and I assign people to the other one and move that in the pending review.
sounds great. Delete the branch.
Thanks for doing this work. This really helps to.
Well, hopefully it helps. We'll
Yeah.
see.
It chips
Sometimes
away.
I just feel like I'm moving the food around on the plate.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, not everyone is taking such work, which sometimes enables people to be more efficient. Now we are on this feature. So we discussed this one last time. There is a discussion going on between Ruben and A2. Yeah, I think.
Let it continue, I guess.
Yeah. There is no need to remove outdated boxes waiting for review.
Waiting for that merge and release of that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Although I guess it, yeah, might as well wait for the merge, like, you know.
Yeah.
Let me put a comment here that we are waiting for the.
Yeah, I mean, for the director, the one from the director, I think the only thing now, it was a mistake from my side, so I saw it. Actually, he was fixing an older bug, seems. So, but anyhow, I mean, he's also initializing a new instance, and I guess it's cannot use instance doubles. So just change it to an instance double and merge it. For the director one, yeah, that's the documentation.
So wait,
So
there is still a change there to be made, or no?
Yeah, I would just change it to an instance double instead of actually initializing an instance of the class and merge it right away. So for the director, exactly.
Okay.
But
Sounds good.
yeah, I think that is. I can take 5 minutes after this meeting to it, and so if you want to merge it now, it's also fine, I guess.
Yeah, you can wait and you can merge it when you're done.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's the one you just assigned reviewers to.
Yeah, we discussed this one. Yes. I think you've been working in this assumed roles.
Yeah, we were. which is why I'm so shocked to see a PR from someone who's not us about it. Also, somewhat like confused, but I guess it makes sense. So previously, we only use assume role if we're providing secret and secret access key credentials. But I guess this is saying that you can use assume role when using instance profiles, which I guess according to AWS IAM, how it works, like sure, an instance could be given the right to assume a different role. I'm sure that sounds like it could be a real thing. Throw some reviewers on it, I guess.
Yeah, I was just wanted to understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand, but it in theory sounds like a use case. I feel sorry for whoever this is that's trying to use assume roles because I know our experiences with it weren't the greatest.
Yeah, I saw some discussions between Raman and so Raman actually approved this, but it's not yet the CLA is not accepted yet. We need to wait.
I saw the title of this and it all made sense, and I thought it wasn't from you, Aram, and now I'm really confused.
Template. This is the new one, or with the job templates.
Which repo
Is-
is this in?
This is
DocSposh?
the box.
Oh,
Oh, this is a document. This isn't. I thought at first I thought it was a gem file. I
No,
was
it's
like,
the
why is DocSposh using gem Bosh template?
this is documenting job templates. How to test the job templates.
They're not wrong. It would be better if they made this in a couple weeks.
Maybe this is the place where the gems are somehow referenced in the documents.
I mean, line 41 there, 41 or 42, depending on which side you're looking at, is like definitely requiring stuff out of there, and that will not work without that gem. So their change is correct, I suppose.
Yeah.
Aram looks confused though. Oh, it's on the phone. Yeah. So yeah, this is fine. This might all change in a couple weeks, but
yeah, I
seems
can
good.
totally figure that out. Sorry, I had some noise going on my end over here.
Okay, we can then accept this, and this can be updated. The new gems are available.
Ooh.
You want to tell something about this, Ahmed?
I did not ask him if it's ready for review, to be honest.
Okay, it's not a
But
draft.
I mean, it might be ready, but I will check with him. But it's following what we talked about in the RFC, so enabling an allocated IPv6 prefix. So yes, you can assign reviewers.
I'm kind of, oh, maybe I'm not surprised. So this is a new property. This property doesn't exist currently, right? This is a new property for a network in theory.
That's about now. So IPv6, you can assign a prefix. And here it's about an IPv6 delegation size. And so it does not exist exactly. And now we have to provide it, pass it on to the AWS hyperscaler.
Wait, where is this code getting? Oh, equals environment. Oh, okay. So where does this property come from? This comes from when Bosch calls create env or create VM.
We don't have it in Bosch yet, I think. We
Okay,
have to
okay.
use, yeah. I think that will come.
But
So
this is
we
a
would,
cloud property or?
According to the RFC, this is supposed to be a top level like networking property, like in the
exactly.
network config.
Yeah.
I think I saw it here somewhere. He's accessing network interfaces, right? And taking the property from there, exactly.
Yeah, go click to the RFC there. Then look for, what was it, prefix? Yeah.
IPv6 delegation size, exactly. Under under subnets.
So this won't work, which kind of makes it hard to test, but that is where in theory it will be at some point.
Exactly. So we need to, we need the implementation from Bosch first, right? To have this
Yeah.
property in.
I would say probably we should do the Bosch side first before we try reviewing this, because might be that we get into the Bosch side and like there's realities that make it difficult to put it at this layer or that layer or at this point in time or something. Probably not, but
Yeah. If you don't have fun using JSON strings and passing it to the CPI, we can wait for the director coding. You're right.
it's called the CPI manual. You don't need Bosch.
I guess that's how he tested it.
So we should implement first the Bosch side, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's yeah, we can.
I mean, unless I don't know, this wasn't a big change. Like, it's not that hard to build. I was going to say, unless this is like really helpful to work on the Bosch side of things, but like you can build a dev release with those changes in a minute or two. So it doesn't seem like there's a huge necessity for this to be in the CPI now to build the Bosch side.
Yeah, I also
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, it's not blocking us anyhow, so
Right, we have everything regarding PRs. I think we don't have so many issues. We can just check the issues and then do the other topics in the agenda.
Sebastian wanted to talk to me about this, but I did not have time yet.
So he most probably will work on PR or
Yeah. I think he will take care.
so I will make this waiting for open for contribution then.
Yeah, it would be good. I don't know, to figure out the AWS CPI has the same set of problems with disks and VM types, and it's got a big hard coded list of like these ones can do this. It'd be really good to find APIs to do this, but until somebody wants to do that work, just updating the list is far less work.
But what I found interesting, if you click on this regex pattern, which I think that's what's causing the issues.
Yes,
And
it has to be updated.
yeah, and he mentioned this API, which might be a cleaner way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
We ended. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. I don't know if we normally do this, that we have API requests going to the internet to do such checks.
We did that for the unmanaged disk to managed disk migration that happened last month or so. We put changes in for that. And the problem with that is like the number of availability sets in each region is different. And so when you go to convert whatever they are, the AZ set to a managed AZ set, you have to set the fault domains or something. And like that's dependent upon what region you're in. And we added a bunch of API calls in there to figure out like, oh, what region are you in? Then I'm going to go figure out how many AZs, how many fault domains are in there. So we do it there. It was, you know, we could have, there's like 40 or so different regions. So it's like, hard coding all of those would just be a nightmare. And then those change probably quite a lot. So the types of VMs don't change as much, but it's not crazy to do a similar thing and call an API, especially since the API we had to call was completely insane because it was like, give me all the SKUs for the region. And it was like 2 megabytes of JSON that came back like every time. It only happens when you actually have to migrate a VM from unmanaged to managed. So it doesn't happen very often, but it was like, you know, it didn't slow things down, but it was just like, is there not a better API for this?
Yeah.
Was that the same API? Is that the resource SKUs? Oh no, yeah, that's a terrible API. We do already have code in there to call it though, if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's yeah.
My only concern is how it will work with Azure China. That is the only thing I'm thinking about. Yeah, but we can test it. I don't know.
You mean in air-gapped environments?
Not even air-gapped. I don't know if China is having all of these whitelisted or not. I don't know. That would be interesting to test.
Well, typically there is an API endpoint that's used depending upon what region you're in. You know, there's the global commercial regions, but China has a different one. So all the API calls, if you're configured for the China region, go to the China endpoints, and they have their own version of the resource SKU API with its own API versioning. That's why there's a bunch of like version strings throughout the CPI. So it, in theory, will handle that. There might need to be some fixes if it's not quite right, but for the most part, I think they version the Azure versions all of their API endpoints with different date versions. Like this one might be March 1st and this one might be March 5th, and you have to call them with different versions. There's not one like global, like this is version 5 of everything. So there's a bunch of hard-coded dates, constants in the CPI currently, and there could be something to do with China and that of China. Most of the time, the different regions have the same date versioning for an API, but I know that wasn't necessarily true for like Azure Stack or whatever the on-premise Azure was that the CPI sort of supported 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
So you mean this one maybe has already some get resource by ID? No.
Yes, I think so. Matching resource, image version, parse image gallery. No. I don't think this was the commit. It was somewhere around here though. Oh, get image gallery version, but no, that's not it.
No, I was in that one. Yeah.
I thought we added a whole new API call in the Azure client, but
Yes, I remember the PR with
yeah.
make. Anyway, yeah, this is not us. This is different one. Okay, Ahmed, if you have discussions with Sebastian, you can mention that maybe.
Yeah, there's code in there to do it. It might be slightly different. The code might already be filtering by something else that you want to filter by, but you know, there's previous examples of it. But at the same time, it's fine to add to the regex too if nobody wants to open that can of worms.
You mean there is an example of that in the Azure CPI?
Yeah, I'll find it and put it in the
right.
channel real quick.
Okay. And regarding Noble, I think Noble, there is only one validation issue in CF deployment, which is still working, the GA release of the stem cell. So the container metrics are missing for memory. We've been looking into what is going on here, and it looks like the Garden support for C group V2 most probably is missing something, and Maria will look into this. She also put some pointer. So basically, all the Cloud Foundry acceptance tests are passing, are successful. Only the metrics, container metrics about memory are failing. Let's see, maybe it's not so big of an issue. Okay.
By the way, Joseph, it's good that you found the missing the deleted line. I found it a few days later, and then I realized that you fixed it. That's good.
With which deleted line?
The CI tools. I think it was instead of deleting one
Oh,
package.
right. Right. Well, it caused the pipeline to break, and I'm like,
okay.
how did SCSI tools have so many dependent packages? This is insane. And then I went back and looked. I'm like, oh, wait a second, hold on. I
mean,
shouldn't have merged that so quick.
I mean, you see, I expected the whole line to be red, and then not even redder with the CI tools. But yeah, and and then I saw it a few days later. And, oh, we did something wrong here. But good, you found it.
Okay, we didn't notice that it's not the SCSI tools. Okay.
And here in the Zoom chat is the link to the Azure CPI, Ahmed. It's not a generic call to SKUs. It's a specific call that filters SKUs, but you know, I don't know if that's the exact API that was being referenced in that issue, but it's possibly something like that.